Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA, here for you, here for good.
Welcome to Quick Wisdom by Everyday Greatness, and thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Barnaby Howarth. I want to start today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands I'm filming this interview from, the Greenguy people of the Eora Nation. I pay my respects to elders, past and present. My guest today, blind cricketer Ray Moxly, is one of the most successful athletes Australia has produced. Ray has the world record for the most wickets in one innings of blind cricket, 8 for 19 against New Zealand. He was voted the best bowler at the 2006 World Cup in Pakistan, was the equal leading wicket taker at the 2017 World Cup in India, and the English blind cricket team credit Ray with individually winning the Ashes for Australia after he did his ACL running between wickets, went on to score 49 runs, and then came back out to bowl and took 5 wickets. As well as Ray's, just in case Ray's incredible cricket resume is not enough, he also supports LOFOB, League of Friends of the Blind, that provide walking canes to vulnerable people in Cape Town in South Africa. Ray is also a chairman of Blind Cricket Australia. A selector for the blind men's cricket team in Australia. Chairman of Blind Cricket Australia. He's Australia's delegate to the World Blind Cricket Association and Global Development Director of World Blind Cricket. So to talk about how ridiculously successful Ray's career as a cricketer and a human being is, to talk about all the goodness he puts back into the world even after retiring from international cricket. And we may even touch on his disability for a short time as well. It's a real pleasure to welcome Ray Moxly to Quick Wisdom. Ray, welcome and thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks so much, Barnaby. Lovely to be here joining you.
Now, before I start, I believe you have something you want to say.
Well, 2 things to say. First, I also want to acknowledge the traditional owners, and I'm on Turrbal and Yagara land. But yeah, I do want to put out a special congratulations to Lachlan Chamberlain and to Lachlan Carmichael and Noah Chamberlain from the Sydney Swans Academy, who've been selected in the Australian Under-18s AFL National Academy Boys Squad. That's a pretty massive achievement, Barnaby, and I reckon those boys deserve to get a call out. So well done to Lachlan Carmichael and to Noah Chamberlain on that achievement.
Go boys. Thanks, Ray. Now, let me ask you, your cricket resume is incredible. No offence to blind cricket, but it's not Australia's marquee sport. How do you feel when you walk down the street and nobody recognises you, given everything you've achieved? I believe even at a Queensland blind cricket event recently, they spelled your name wrong. How does it make you feel?
Well, everyone spells my name incorrectly, so I don't feel like anyone involved in cricket's making any special less effort than anyone else. Look, I don't. To be honest with you, yeah, I was sort of starting to scratch my head. They were all the things that I've done, but it does sound like a lot when you put it together like that in your intro. But for me, I've just loved playing the game, and I've loved the camaraderie I've gotten out of it. So yeah, I don't feel like I need special acknowledgement, but it's nice to hear sometimes. So thanks, Barnaby.
You're welcome anytime. It is pretty bloody amazing. Do you ever walk down the street though and just look at people and go, "I won an Ashes series for Australia. I took 8 for 19 against New Zealand one day. What have you done?"
No, I've got my ego pretty well in check. I've got a few people around me, Barnaby, who make sure I don't get too full of myself. So in blind cricket circles, in fairness, in blind cricket circles, when I'm mentoring a young cricketer and they see someone who that day may have taken a few wickets, maybe, and they go, "Oh, look, no, thanks for chatting, but I really want to go and talk to this guy who's just taken some wickets to get some advice." And it's like, that's when I feel like jumping in and go, "Oh, whoa, I might look as young or athletic as I used to be, but I've done something and I've got a bit of knowledge to impart." So that's probably the only time when the ego kicks in a bit, Barnaby. But outside of that, stays pretty well in check.
I reckon that's the closest you've ever come to pumping your own tyres. World first. So tell us how blind cricket is played. If you've got any props, feel free to use them. How do bowlers not bowl no balls every second ball? And how do batsmen realise they've reached the crease when they're trying to complete a run?
Yeah, well, there are a few things with blind cricket. So firstly, the game is as closely modelled on conventional cricket, or as we call it, sided cricket, as can be. So we have 11 players a side, but we do have some distinct categories within those 11 players. So there are 4 people that are totally blind, 3 people who are poor partial sight. That gets you to 7. And then the remaining players, there's another 4 there, can be made up of the third category, which is partially sighted but legally blind players, which is the category I fit in. Or you could have more of those, the other categories with less sight. So that's, I guess, the first thing to understand, that there is that sight difference. And people who are totally blind would have someone like me running for them. So while they hit the score, we do the donkey work and run up and down the field. And I've guided someone off the field after they've scored a fantastic knock, and the crowd and everyone just goes, "Mate, fantastic, well batted," and I've just left absolutely dead to see him walking off with no acknowledgement at all. That hurts a bit. But so the people with the vision will see where the creases are. But how do we not bowl no balls? Well, some people will say I've never mastered that, Barnaby. But first of all, I'll show you a little prop, and that is a blind cricket ball. So I bring that close to your camera. So you might see there's a little seam running down there. So it is modelled on a conventional cricket ball. It's the same size as a conventional cricket ball, about half the weight. And I'll do this without trying to destroy the speakers or everyone's hearing. But it's got some ball bearings in there. So I'm not sure if that came through clearly, but that gives people an audio understanding of where the ball is. So if the ball's hit in the air, we might well hear the whistling of the ball. But for me, with my level of vision, I'll use my sight most of the time in the game. The other key differences, blind cricket, the ball is bowled underarm. And before you bowl, you need to ask the batter if they're ready, and the batter, if they respond with yes, then before you release the ball, you need to say the word play. The ball's bowled underarm. It needs to land on a line we draw halfway down a wicket. I know these sounds like a lot of different little rules, but when you see the game in action, it all sort of makes a bit of sense. So the idea of the audio cue of "Are you ready?" that also alerts the field too. The bowler's about to bowl, so everyone then understands. Okay, get in a position, we're ready to go. Then and as you say, play, you release the ball, and sometimes I've been known to wing it down at a good pace and pick up a couple of pegs.
Very nice. So if you bowl underarm, are there spin bowlers in blind cricket?
Absolutely, yeah. Some guys can turn it a long way. So the idea with the guys who spin, they might pitch the ball as close to that halfway line as possible and put a lot of torque on the ball, and then have it really cut in. And we have had some bowlers who do that in Australia, but I vividly remember playing a final, or it might have been a semi-final of a World Cup against India, and this guy's come in to bowl, and he's bowled, and the ball's coming down the leg side, like close to the wide line on the leg. I thought, okay, I've got basically a free hit here. There's nothing that can go wrong. And I've gone with all of my might to swing at the ball. And as I'm halfway through my action, the ball has just cut right across in front of me and actually just missed my off stump. I was like, holy dooly. And then I've got some good mates from Pakistan. Muhammad Jamil's this guy in particular. He can bowl these amazing in-swingers, and you're sure, okay, that's definitely a foot outside off stump. That is, that's going to go through the covers or somewhere. And the next thing, the ball comes in and really cuts you in half. So, so some people can really get a lot of spin on it. But that wasn't my specialty. My specialty was running in and just bowling as fast as I could.
Fair enough. Sounds awesome. Now, I believe you've got another prop which I'd like you to show us before this next story, but the English blind cricket team personally credit you with winning an Ashes series. That blows my mind as an Australian cricket fan. To hear England credit one person with winning a series is about as big a compliment as you get. Tell me how that game panned out and what you did, how you did your ACL and what you did afterwards.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, it was something I didn't I certainly didn't expect. But that was the feedback I had from well, certainly not officially. They don't officially say that Ray Moxly won the series for them, but that's the strong feedback from the England guys, and my teammates have said similar things, which is lovely. It's probably my greatest moment or memory in blind cricket, I think.
Sorry, I can't resist. Can you grab this prop while you're telling this story?
Oh, this whole thing, Barnaby.
Yeah, that's the one. The baggy green.
That's my baggy green. I don't get it too close to my nose, Barnaby, because it's never been washed. And there's probably a bit of blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this. But yeah, surprise possession for me, my baggy green. So so that game was the first game of the Ashes in 2012. We've gone into bat. We're batting first, and we've had a bit of a mini collapse. Things aren't going terribly well. And in blind cricket, as I mentioned earlier, with those categories, we also bat in cycles. So there in that game, we had 4 people in my site category. But the way the cycles work, you're either batting in the first 3, the second 3, the third 3, or the last 2. So you have to be spread across the cycle. So you don't put all the guys with the most site at the top of the innings. You do spread things out a bit. And I was primarily a bowler, so I'm coming in at number 10. And that in an ODI cricket match, that should mean that I'm coming in. If I'm coming in, I'm coming in with a couple of balls to go. But in this game, I think I came in at about 25 overs or 30 overs. Like we'd not scored many runs. Might have been 25 overs. We were only 200. Not a good position to be in. I've gone out to bat, and I'm batting. We scored a few runs. Things are going okay, and then I'm running a quick 2. And as I've turned to run, my knee just buckled out from underneath me, and instantly I've grabbed my knee and sort of yelped in pain. I think it was after I've turned, so I've come out of the creasing. I think I've sort of flattened my way back into the crease to make sure I wasn't getting run out. Because while the England guys are great sports, if I'm out of my crease, they're probably going to knock the bars off. But I was in a fair bit of pain. I've gone, this is no good. I'm just lying there thinking, what the hell's going on? The physio we have in the team, she's run out to have a look, and they've basically, a couple of teammates have then come out as well, because it was a bit dramatic. And I'm getting guided, sort of helped off the field. I'm sort of, I guess, similar to you'd see in a footy game. You see arms around 2 people as they're trying to get me off the field with my knees buggered, and I can see our last batter coming out. And with the greatest respect to our last batter, Barnaby, that was about to be the end of our innings. He was no good. I said to the guy, I said, stop. I turned around and said, look, let's see if they'll give me a runner, because if this guy's coming in, that's it, we're done. And so they turned around, they said to the English guys, so, are you guys happy to give him a runner? And it probably helped a bit that I'm noted for being a quick runner, so I'm not likely to be someone who would. I'm not a junior runner Tunga. Some guy, maybe people think, well, he's not going to be able to get up and down the wickets very often. Get someone fast in to run for him, So that sort of played in. They're very, very good sports, and they said, yeah, we'll give him a runner. So I hobbled back to the crease, took up strike, and I batted in essence on one leg. And to be honest with you, it's probably the easiest batting I've ever done in my life. I just had to hit the ball to a gap, and someone else had to do the donkey work. I ended up getting run out in the last ball for 49, and then I've gone off the field. That was the end of the innings. Then we scored just over 300, which then was a tricky but defendable score. If we bowled really well, we're going to be able to defend it. I've gone off. Everyone else has gone to lunch. I'm there with the physio, and she's there fiddling with my knee, and she says, I said, look, can you fix it up? I figured that something's not quite right. I didn't know what an ACL was at that time. Well, I knew what an ACL was, but I didn't think this was an ACL. And she's looked at me and she's gone, oh no, this is no good at all. And I said, can we bandage it up? Could I be all right to go? And she said, no, look, no, I don't think so. Look, it's really stuffed. And I said, well, if we bandage it up, will could I do any more damage? She said, no, actually, I think it's probably really, really stuffed. You probably couldn't do anything worse to it. So she then bandaged up my leg. I looked like the Michelin man just on my one leg. I had that much strapping tape around my leg. My leg was sort of locked, slightly bent. So the guys have come back from lunch, and they've seen me with this one gigantic knee. I'm still on the table, and they said, you're going to have a go? So I may as well have a go. Like, what have we got to lose? So I went out, and my leg at that stage, I've had painkillers, but it still wasn't feeling great. And I felt like I was standing on the deck of a boat. Like, it felt that unstable to try to stand up, even with all the strapping tape on it. And I said, look, may as well see if I can bowl. So I've gone in, I've bowled a couple of overs, which have been okay, but I've hobbled into bowl. And I'm noted for being explosive at the crease, but I've hobbled into bowl. I've gone through a couple of overs which weren't too bad. think it might have been my third or fourth over of my spell, I took 4 wickets. And I just tore the guts out of the England cricketers. I think my 5th over, I took another wicket, and then I finished my spell of 8 overs, and I just hobbled off the field. But they were just destroyed. I think when they saw me go down, they thought, okay, well, this is good. One of their key players is gone for the series in the first game. That's a nice start. But when that happened, they were just shell shocked, and they didn't recover. The next 2 games, they were just a mess. They just it just messed with their head, and that was So the feedback was that I won the Ashes, and the boys got around me, so the same thing. So it's a wonderful feeling, great memory.
That is one of the great Australian sports stories of all time. Thanks for sharing in so much detail. Now, that leads me perfectly to my next question. How do you stay so bloody humble with that story, 2 awards at Cricket World Cups, and taking a world record for the most wickets in innings? How do you practically stay humble? Do you have to tell yourself in the mirror to just calm down, or do you have people that cut you down, or how does it work?
Oh, well, to be brutally honest, mate, I think everyone's got a great story. And that's just my story. But I think everyone's got a great story. If you ask the right questions, everyone's done something special. And mine maybe is not quite public, but it's a bit more known than others. But I think that's it. I don't credit myself as being any more special than anyone else. So that's how I feel about it.
That's an incredibly humble answer, just perfectly for the theme of what I was asking you. Now, as a father, Ray, is it difficult knowing that your child won't carry on in the sport you forged your path in? Your child is diabetic, but she's not blind, so she literally can't play blind cricket. Is that a tough pill to swallow?
Barnaby, as you know, with type 1 diabetes, there's a chance of diabetic retinopathy. So my great wish in my entire life is that my daughter is never in a position to play blind cricket. So, the idea is keep her healthy and happy, and not venture anywhere near a blind cricket field. And my kids, I've got 3 kids, and yet they all have pretty standard vision. So, well, actually, no, my son has supervision. He can read off an eye chart. So. Whilst I see about 10%, he sees about 150% of what the average person sees. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad no one's taking on that mantle. Although I really wanted my daughters and my son to play cricket, but none of them took that up at all. My son's very happy bouldering, and my daughters are keen netballers. So that's what it is.
Fair enough. Now, let me ask you about your disability. So tell me what your disability is first.
Yeah, so I have a condition called ocular albinism. So it's an albinism, but it primarily affects my sight. It does impact my skin a bit. So you'll see my skin is fair, not quite transparent, but I guess I'm not a shade. I'm probably a shade up from being transparent. My hair until recently was like bleach blonde. It was really, really, really blonde. But as I've gotten older, it's gone a bit darker, which is quite a strange thing. And I was only pointed out to me. I was on the phone telling someone that I was meeting them. I said, I'm 6 foot, I've got glasses, and I've got blonde hair. And I finished the phone call, and the person I was with said, your hair's not blonde. It used to be, but it's not anymore. I've gone, what are you talking about? So I've got ocular albinism. So it's about 10% vision. So I struggle. If you see the what's called the Snellen eye chart, it's a pyramid eye chart with the letters, a big letter at the top, then 2, then so on.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle to read that top letter. That's about where my vision runs out. I'm really sensitive to the sun, so I've picked a great sport to play, Barnaby, spending all day out running around the sun. But I wear sunglasses playing, although I only caught onto that at the very end of my career. I may have been a better cricketer, maybe a better batter if I'd known about sunglasses early on. But most of the issues with my vision happen at the back of my eye. So I've got glasses which fix a bit of a lens correction, as most people who've got maybe shorter long-sightedness will put glasses on. That corrects their vision to have, in essence, normal sight. That correction for me just makes the image sharper. It doesn't actually make the image, doesn't give me better vision. I'm still legally blind with glasses on. My irises don't really work. Whilst they open and close, they actually don't filter any light out. So light still pours in from everywhere, and that's the reason the sunglasses are useful. But it's not degenerative, and I think I'm fortunate. I feel fortunate in that my vision, outside of the age-related degeneration that everyone gets, my vision is otherwise not impacted in the same way that someone with a degenerative vision impairment would have.
Yeah, fair enough. And how do you feel about your disability? Did you ever have disability shame and try and hide it when you were a kid? Do you have disability pride and go and fly flags and blow whistles? Or is it just is what it is and you get on with it as best you can?
Look, as a kid, I am pretty sure I don't know of anyone who could have been more teased than I was as a kid. So I didn't have disappearance. When I was a kid, I had a really severe squint. Unfortunately, the head ophthalmologist in Queensland didn't believe in squint correction. So one eye was going straight ahead and the other eye was probably pointing violently in. So
Mm.
that stood out. I had very thick glasses. I used to destroy glasses on such a regular occurrence that my parents gave up buying me glasses and would just get the free hospital glasses. So I looked like an old grandfather sort of specs. I was whilst I'm 6 foot now, going through school, I was probably one of the shortest kids, the fairest kid, and I was just teased relentlessly. So I couldn't get away from the fact that I was vision impaired, but I certainly felt that I wasn't equal to everyone else with growing up as a kid. And I remember, almost feeling like I was in the Truman Show because I didn't know anyone else who had a disability. Everyone else seemed to be in inverted commas normal, and so I was almost looking, wondering whether if I was walking out of a room, would everyone stop moving until I walked back in the room? As a young kid, I remember these things. So when I reflect on that, I was quite aware that I was different. I couldn't do anything about it though, so I don't know that shame would be it, but I certainly wasn't. I didn't feel like everyone else. I felt that I was always different, and it was probably might have been even into my 30s before I stopped apologizing for the fact I had a vision impairment. Like I used to start questions, but maybe even into my 40s. I used to I'd go to a takeaway shop, for instance. They've got the big chalkboard up behind the counter with all of the menu items, and I would go, "Look, I'm really sorry, but I don't see very well. Can you read the board?" And so I've now taken the sorry bit out of that conversation. So it took a long time for me to get there. So I guess
Mm.
that's one of my ways of advocating. So I no longer say sorry that I can't see something. I say, "Excuse me, I don't see very well. Can you read what that sign is?" And that's, I think, also impacted the way I view myself too. It's taken a long time. It's been a big journey for me to get there.
Hmm. And what's the most, besides that little takeaway reading menu thing, what's the most frustrating thing about only having 10% vision in day-to-day life?
Not having a car, Barnaby,
Right.
that would be the single biggest frustration, that not being able to get somewhere. So if it's 8:30 at night, this is going back a few years now, my kids were saying, "Oh, Dad, we need this for school tomorrow. I need lunch or I need something
Right.
such and such." Then what do? I mean, any other parent could just jump in a car, 5 minutes to the supermarket, you're back home. But for me, that's just impossible. So and getting my kids to and from sport was also really frustrating, and even coming up with activities, wanting my kids to go and do or experience something. Everything I did, I needed to organise for someone else to be there to do it. So
Mm.
it's just the inconvenience of not being able to get around. I mean, maybe if you lived in somewhere like a big city like New York, for instance, or on Manhattan Island, then maybe it wouldn't be a deal because no one drives. But in Australia, where we are here, I'm in suburban Australia. Getting around, a
Mm.
car is key. And people, the only time I guess I get a bit touchy is when people find out I can't drive. They go, "Oh, you're lucky. Cars are expensive and petrol's expensive." I go, "You've got no idea. Like I would
Mm.
pay twice. I bet I'd pay twice as much to have the
Yeah.
convenience of just being able to do that." So that's probably my biggest frustration, is not being able to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. And it's good frustration too. So your blindness doesn't seem to have slowed you down at all. Tell me about what you do with League of Friends of the Blind in Cape Town. What's that all about?
Okay, yeah, so I was on a cricket trip in 2014, the end of 2014, with my involvement on the World Blind Cricket Board. I had a good friendship with the guy who was representing South Africa at the time, Armand
Hmm.
Ban. And so Armand and I guess, yeah, we had such a close friendship. He said, "Look, when they were hosting the World Cup, that was his home city. So when the World Cup's on, look, you're going to be my special guest here, mate. Hang around for another week after the tournament, and take some time with me." And through the process of meeting his staff during the World Cup, because they were all there volunteering, and then spending some time with him after, I got to experience, and he worked at LOFOB, and I could see there was a real need for some support. This organisation at the time might have been going for 80 years. It's probably 80, probably nearly 90 years now. Um, they did amazing work, but they only ever had 3 months budget in front of them at any one time, and they ran temporary housing for people who had suddenly maybe lost vision through trauma or illness. So they had temporary housing for that. One of the people had been in the temporary accommodation, like a boarding house, for about 33 years. So, these people, so quite often people would come in and they wouldn't leave, and they needed to provide all this support. So they also ran a primary school. So kids would come in, or also a preschool. So kids would come in and get some fundamental skills on understanding how to interact with, books, those sorts of things, because of large print things or braille books. But one thing I noticed was that the people, when they were doing mobility and orientation education, they were walking around with what would look like fairly rudimentary sticks and things, not what you would see in Australia. So in your intro, you mentioned walking cane. It's actually a mobility cane. I've got one here. I'll just show you now. This is mine that I would use very rarely, but I'd use at night, and it folds out. It's probably going to go outside of our screen, but people would see something like this. Not sure if that's coming through or not, Barnaby, but
Yep, perfect.
but this is a mobility cane that people who are blind or have a severe vision impairment would use to get around. And the one that I have here is a really sturdy one. And I'd also seen Ahmed in Pakistan looking to buy some canes, and the canes that he was showing there that fit into his budget were flimsy. And the people that they were going to be supplying these canes to lived in places that were fairly dangerous. And to give someone a flimsy cane in a dangerous place, they go out, the cane breaks halfway through their journey, then they're very, very vulnerable. And I thought, we've got to be able to do something here. And in Australia, fortunately, if you're vision impaired, you typically get access to one cane a year for free from a vision support organisations like Vision Australia, for instance, that they would be able to supply you with a cane a year if you needed. So people will quite often have 10 or 15 canes that they've acquired over their life that might have a slight bend in it. Because if you're walking along and someone doesn't pay attention, they stand on your cane or it gets jammed into something. So people have a slight bend. It's not quite as good as it was. So I might as well get a new cane so everything's perfect. And that cane would then just go into a cupboard and it would sit there gathering dust. So with my contacts, I managed to have a chat with a number of people and said, look, I took it on myself to get the canes from Australia to South Africa. But I got the canes donated to me. So I had canes coming in from all over the place. And I think we're at about 600 or 700 canes now that I've taken to South Africa. And I bundle them up and then go over there. The first trip was a bit funny. I had 2 suitcases, one suitcase full of canes. The second suitcase had some canes and then my clothes. And then I had a call from someone. This is about 2 hours before I was leaving home, 4 or 5 hours before my flight. He said, look, I've just come across a box of canes. Do you want them? And I've gone, sure, that sounds great. And knowing at the same time, this has got to go where my clothes are. So that was it. Out went the clothes, in went the rest of the canes. I think I went over with one change of clothes my first trip. But yeah, it's been great. And we've been able to really make some real difference in people's lives. And I've actually inspired one of the guys I know through the England blind cricket team. He's done something similar. He's got some relatives in South Africa, and whenever he goes now, he collects the secondhand canes from there and brings them across. So it's fantastic.
Very cool. And if there's anybody watching right now that wants to give you a hand or donate canes or help you get them over to South Africa, how can they do it? Have you guys got a website?
I have a Facebook page called where's my page? I can't remember. It's gone out of my head, but I'll get it to you, Barnaby. But if they look up me on Facebook, that's probably the easiest way to get in touch. So Raymond Moxly. Make sure it's not Ray Moxley. Raymond Moxley. If they say Ray Moxley, they're going to talk to my dad. They might get some. We won't know what's going on. So yeah, Raymond Moxley. Just connect to me on Facebook or LinkedIn or. And be more than happy to work out what could happen. So people in the past have just wanted to support it. So I've actually just organised for an invoice from a cane manufacturer to go to that person. So if someone said, look, give you $500 towards the cane project, I'll say, great, I'll get an invoice. So the cane manufacturer sends them an invoice, they pay that invoice and get the canes delivered to me. I've had a GoFundMe page that helped pay a little bit of the cost of getting across, but in the past, I've just paid for the air ticket to get me across. But I'd be great. I only can do it when I can get the money together. So if someone is out there and is keen to support it, we're ready.
Right, sounds good. Well, let me know the Facebook page of the association that can help, and I'll post that in the show notes. One last question for you, Ray. You're also getting ahead in the social world. You do pub choir. What is your go-to banger if you get up and do a solo?
Oh, Barnaby, my go-to. Well, I'm partial to a bit of Billy Joel. So I don't know that. I think, to be honest with you, given a choice, I'd much rather sing in pub choir than with a microphone on my own Barnaby. I'm happy to be swallowed up by about 2,000 other people all singing their hearts out. And it's been a heap of fun. It's something I do at the moment. I'm doing with my daughter and my sister, and we have a ball, absolute blast. So if no one's heard of pub choir, jump on pub choir on YouTube, break it in there, and get yourself along. It's the best fun.
Yeah, there's a night for you. Raymond Moxley, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know you are well aware of how bloody sensational your cricket achievements are, but please don't forget how extraordinary you are as a human being and how big all the things you've done are. It was incredible. Thank you so much for joining me and having a chat.
Thanks, Barnaby. Lovely chatting with you.
Thanks, mate. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you to the ARA Group for being our major sponsor for the 8th year in a row. And I hope you can join us next week, where I'll speak to Elizabeth Wright, 3-time Paralympic medalist and ABC sports journalist, about how she gets by with her disability. Thank you again, Ray, and thank you all for joining us.
Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA, here for you, here for good.